Good morning, you listen to FloorDaily.net, and I'm Kemp Harr. This morning I have two guests. I have Jay Brown and Richard French with Bentley Mills. How you guys doing this morning?
We're doing well, Kemp.
Doing great, Kemp. Thank you.
I want to talk about these changes in your roles. Jay, you've just been promoted that you're president and chief operating officer. And Richard, you've been promoted to senior vice president, sales and marketing, and chief commercial officer. Jay, a little background on you. You've been at Bentley for a couple of years in an operations role under Jim Harley. And after a transition, Jim's going to retire. You take that leadership role from an operations perspective, but also the president. A little bit more on you. You were at Interface for 7 years, and the last role you had there was vice president of supply chain. And Richard, you've been at Bentley now for, what's it been, 4 years?
5 years.
5 years, okay. You also were at Interface prior to that. Right now, Bentley is owned by Balta, a Belgian company. I guess that's been about 5 years as well, right?
That's correct.
And I guess this transition in leadership is just because Jim Harley has decided he wanted to retire. And that's basically the driver for it, right?
That's correct. Jim has been, thinking about retiring for some time. And, he, of course, is a legend in the industry and here at Bentley Mills. So he spent the right amount of time trying to get the right team in place to hand it over. He will be with us for roughly another year in an advisory role as we need him. But Jim is going to retire effective June the 1st.
Jay, you've got all of operations and back of house, and Richard, you've got sales, marketing, and product development. Is that right?
That's correct.
First, tell me how business is doing with Bentley Mills.
Kemp, business is doing very well for us. Our demand's back to our 2019 run rates. We're really excited about where we are in terms of new business and how 2022 is progressing. We think we're about a year ahead of where we expected to be. So business is really good for us right now.
Actually, that's really good news because I think 2019 was Bentley's best year, wasn't it?
It was a bellwether year, to say the least, yes.
Okay, so you're back to that run rate. That's good to hear. Tell me which sectors are bringing the most business to you now.
Kemp, we've been blessed. The A&D community, which has been the business that we've spent the most time focusing on, is back. Our financial services, law firms, our high-end corporate office business is back. And then we're seeing a great deal of growth in our education and multifamily sectors as well.
Okay. So people are coming back to work, and that's helping to bring the cash register for you.
Coming back to work and going back to school, absolutely.
I know another thing that's been going on with Bentley has been this transition that was kind of a forced transition because Antron decided they weren't going to make carpet fiber anymore. Tell us about what you've been doing there.
Well, Kemp, fortunately for us, we had started some of that transition prior to where we, wound up today with Invista. But it was a challenge for us late last year. We have developed our alternate supply chains, and we really have our feet under us now on that front. I would say that yarn's still inconsistent, as you can imagine, changing over products and going through what we're going through. But the yarn supply is not our biggest issue that we face at this point. We're just like everyone else. We deal with labor costs, rising raw material costs, transportation, and those things. But, we have some good days and some bad days on yarn, but for the most part, it's all good. And we're fortunate that we're able to ship a lot of carpet. So
that's good. You've made this shift away from Antron, and you're going with, I guess, Universal, Aquafil, and Ascend, depending on kind of what the need is, right?
That's correct. We have agreements in place with them, and they're all three supplying us now. And we spent the better part of 8 months building up inventories, getting ourselves in a better position to do the transition.
Okay. Well, everybody's going to be watching you, Jay, in this new role. I know that you're up for the challenge. I'm just curious, what's your outlook for the rest of this year, 2022?
Well, our demand is very high right now, and we anticipate that that's going to continue to grow for us. We are adding to our workforce. We continue to build that up, and we're adding new assets to the mill to be able to meet the demand. So we're in a good spot, and as we go into the latter part of the year, we'll have more capacity and throughput here in the mill. We're actually seeing both modular tile and broadloom grow pretty good for us right now. So we find ourselves in a good spot.
That's interesting you say that. I was just at the Starnet meeting in Colorado Springs last week, and they were talking about how soft had performed much better than they had forecasted. So it sounds like there's more demand for carpet than some of us had predicted.
Yeah, we think so. Like I said, we feel good about where we are.
That's great. All right. Well, Jay, congratulations. And I guess we'll see both of y'all at NeoCon just a couple of weeks from now, right?
Yes.
Absolutely, Kemp. We'll be at NeoCon. We'll be at our showroom right across from the Mart there on Kinsey. We look forward to seeing you.
Well, it's great to talk to you guys. Again, been talking to Jay Brown, the new president and COO at Bentley, and Richard French, the senior vice president and chief commercial officer. And you've been listening to Kemp Harr and FloorDaily.net.